another thing that I want to talk with you about today is our core beliefs. So what are core beliefs? Well, in my detective work of trying to figure out exactly why I was feeling the way I was feeling and why I was doing what I was doing, I uncovered all of the research telling us that our core beliefs can dictate our behavior. So what is a core belief? Well, each one of us has core beliefs about ourselves, about other people, and about life in general. So let me give you some examples to illustrate. Okay, if I have a core belief about myself, and I actually had this one when I was in college, that I am smart. If I have a core belief about myself that I am smart, I'm going to act as if. So what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to go to class, and when I go to class, I'm going to sit in the front seat because I don't have anything to hide from because I'm smart. And so I'm going to sit in the front seat, and when the professor is talking with me, I'm going to listen intently. And when I have a question, because I'm smart, I'm going to raise my hand. Why am I going to do that? Because I'm not going to think that it's going to give anybody else the impression that I'm not smart. I'm going to think that the professor isn't necessarily explaining it thoroughly. Because, hey, I'm smart. If I don't get it, nobody else does either. So I'm going to sit in the front seat. I'm going to listen intently. I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to ask my questions. I'm going to take my work home. I'm going to open my book to do all of my work. Why? Because I know that independently I can do that work. Why? Because I'm smart. If I have a question about my homework as I'm doing it, I'm going to look it up feverishly because I'm going to think, you know what, I can find this answer because I'm smart. I'm going to answer all my questions at home. I'm going to go back into class. I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to talk with the professor because nothing can possibly be an indication of anything wrong with me. It's just something that I'm not following in the class. Has nothing to do with my intellect. I'm going to take a test. After having done all of the necessary work, I'm going to do well on the test. The teacher's going to get the test, grade the test. It's going to be a great grade. They're going to hand the test back and say, wow, Lauren, good job. You're smart. I'm going to say, yeah, I know. So what I already thought is then reinforced. Core belief about self. I am smart. What happened? I got smarter. Same thing happens with another core belief. I am weak. I had that one at one point too. So what do we do when we feel like we're weak? Well, we surround ourselves with people who are going to be powerful or strong or seem like they can take care of us. And when we surround ourselves with people like that, what happens? Well, learned helplessness happens. So we actually become weaker because we surround ourselves with people who do for us that which we can do for ourselves. And so what ends up happening is this core belief that we're weak helps us to make choices in our life, to surround ourselves with people that are going to take the burdens for us and answer our questions for us so that we don't have to, and in turn, we get weaker. So those are two conflicting, one positive and one negative core belief, and we can have kind of a ton of core beliefs all at the same time. But both of those are examples of core beliefs about self. You see that? How core belief drives behavior, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Core belief about other people. I happen to have a core belief about other people that people are innately good, right? I think that some people make mistakes and some people do horrible things, but that's just an indication to me that there's something wrong, that they're sick in some way, shape, and form, because I think that people are innately good. So I treat them as such. So what happens? Well, if I'm walking into the mall and I open the door, I see somebody coming and I say, hi, how are you? Wow, you're good. Open the door for them. Why? Because they're good. So I treat people as if, and in turn, people are nice. People are nice to me. People say, hi, Lauren, how's your day? I say, great, how's your day? And it's reinforced that people are innately good. Now, on the flip side, imagine that I had the core belief, you know what? People are bastards and they want you to fail. And you better keep everything that you have very secret and very quiet, because if you don't, people are going to want to get it from you and they are going to wish you ill-being. Well, if I thought that, well, I'd be very standoffish with people. And in doing so, I would not seem like a very nice person. So guess what? People would not want me to do well. And I would get the vibe from people to confirm exactly what I thought people were. So example of core belief about other people. What we think of others, in turn, is how we experience others. And the last one, and this is the biggie, core belief about life in general. Okay, so follow this. Core belief about life in general, this is mine. And I just came to this core belief several years ago, and it's literally changed my life. So this is the biggie. I believe that each one of us is put here on this earth with a very specific purpose. And everybody's purpose matters. And so I kind of think of the human race as like one big humongous puzzle, okay? So each one of us is put here with a very specific purpose. We are all part of this big puzzle. If we meet that purpose by the end of our life, we can click in our individual puzzle piece into the big ol' human race puzzle. Got it? So the goal is that by the end of our life, we meet that purpose so that we could be a part of. Now, if you've ever put together a puzzle, you know that it doesn't matter what size a puzzle piece is. All of them are intricate and all of them are important, right? So it doesn't matter if we have a humongous purpose, like Gandhi or Mother Teresa. They had a big piece of the puzzle. Or a medium puzzle piece, like all the work Angelina Jolie is doing, okay? So she has a medium-sized puzzle piece. Or Oprah, medium-sized puzzle piece. Medium to large, right? Others of us have small puzzle pieces, like me, for example. But if you've ever put together a puzzle, you know that regardless of size, each puzzle piece is very important. If you're missing any puzzle piece, you basically have to throw your puzzle away because it's completely worthless. And so each one of us is extremely important for our big ol' human race puzzle. And we each have to work feverishly towards our purpose for our lifespan so that we can click in our puzzle piece and make our life matter. So in believing that, what does that mean? Well, that means that we have to figure out what our purpose is. So how do we do that? That we each have to maximize our strengths, minimize our weaknesses, and accept the outcome with vigor. So we basically have to become the best version of ourselves. And in order to do that, I've learned that we basically have to nurture all aspects of ourselves as human beings. So what does that mean? Well, I look at the 4 aspects of being human as being physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. And so we have to become the best versions of ourselves in those 4 areas to become truly us. And in doing that, we will be led directly towards our purpose. So what do? Well, you take care of yourself physically. That's the first one. We need our sleep. You know, oftentimes people try to tackle the world and they have all these goals and all these plans, and so they don't get enough sleep. Well, that's certainly not doing you any good. We need sleep in order to function properly. Number 2, we have to eat nutritiously. You know, our bodies are like machines, and we can't eat as if it's an extracurricular activity. We need to eat because we need our body to get the nutrients that it needs so we can fulfill our goals. That's number 2, nutrition. Number 3, exercise, so important. And like, I'm a runner. I love to run. Why do I love to run? Do I love the act of actually putting my sneakers on and going outside? No. 99% of the time I completely dread it. The only time I love my run is when I'm finished with it. However, it's necessary. Why is it necessary? Well, because I've always kind of had this thing with my mood where sometimes I'm really up and sometimes I kind of feel like, kind of in a funk. Well, my run equalizes me, and I'm not unique. We are all much more similar than we are different. And so when I'm a little up, a little rammy, a little anxious, it evens me out. When I'm a little down, in a funk, it brings me up. It's a perfect equalizer. And so what I've learned is that we need to exercise, we need to sleep right, we need to eat well, so that our bodies function like a well-oiled machine. We get out of our own way and we become the best version of ourselves physically. Then we move on to intellectually. So how do we nurture ourselves intellectually? What do we do so that we can become the best version of ourselves? Well, what I basically mean by that is we just have to learn something new every day. We just have to be aware that our brain needs nurturing. And so what I've learned to do is, well, I love to read, so it's kind of easy in that I just like to learn something, keep my brain going, keep everything fresh. I've learned that TED Talks, Ideas Worth Spreading, I watch at least 2 TED Talks a day. And they take about 18 minutes or so, and I allow myself to watch one TED Talk on something about my stuff, which means that it's something on relationships or something having to do with psychology or the brain or trauma, something having to do with development. That's my stuff. So I allow myself to watch one TED Talk on my stuff, but then I make myself watch one TED Talk on a topic that I don't know anything about or I need to learn more. And so each day I watch 2 TED Talks. Well, that's an extra 36 minutes in my day. How do I do it? Well, I don't watch the TED Talk. I put the TED Talk on in my car for my commute to and from work. So it doesn't take any time out of my day to learn something new. And what I know is that's helping my brain to stay fresh. And so I try to take care of myself intellectually. Emotionally. Well, how do we take care of ourselves emotionally? That's kind of where I come in. Oftentimes, I instruct people to get familiar with your positive and your negative thoughts. Write down your negative thoughts. Change them to being something more positive. If we want to change what we do and how we feel, we need to change how we think. And so just managing that internal negative voice to get it out of your way so you can get on with your day and maximize yourself, maximize your purpose. And lastly, spiritually, we have to become the best versions of ourselves spiritually. Now, what does that mean? Well, I certainly can't tell you what to believe, but I choose to believe in God. The God I believe in today is through mindfulness and recognizing that there's something bigger and better than me. I recognize that I need to stay humble. And so how do I honor that? Well, I honor that by doing all of these things that I'm telling you. I honor that by taking care of myself physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually so that I can meet that purpose, thinking that if I do that, that's honoring the God that I believe in. So if we can become the best version of ourselves in these 4 aspects of being human, well then that's maximizing our strengths. So the next part I mentioned is minimizing weaknesses. So what's that? Well, as human beings, there are tons of distractions, right? There are things that kind of get us off our game, keep us from focusing on ourselves, on our emotions, on our physical well-being. There are things that keep us off our game. What are they? Well, I like to call them the shiny apples. And what that means is it's kind of the things that, get your eye over here, get your eye over there. And all of a sudden, you're not necessarily focusing on reaching that goal or reaching that purpose anymore. All of a sudden, you're focusing on this unhealthy relationship. All of a sudden, you're focusing on drugs and alcohol. All of a sudden, you're focusing on body image and eating disordered behaviors. All of a sudden, you're focusing on something out here to make us feel better in here. And anytime we do that, we're getting off our game, because what's going to really make us feel better in here is keeping on that track of moving towards our purpose. That's my core belief. What is it? To maximize our strengths, minimize our weaknesses, accept the outcome, and keep moving towards that purpose so that we can make our life matter. Now, with that core belief, what am I going to do? I'm going to get up in the morning, and you better be damn sure that I'm going to hit the ground running. And what does that mean? Well, I'm a busy girl. That means that I have to go for a run. I have to listen to 2 TED Talks. I have to read a chapter of my book. I have to go to work that day. All of these things take time. I don't have time for shiny apples. And so it keeps us on track. My core belief guides my behavior. It tells me what I'm going to do every single day. Now, on the flip side, imagine that my core belief is, you know what? Life sucks, then you die. Now imagine if I have the core belief, life sucks, then you die. Am I going to get up and go for a run? Hell no. Am I going to listen to 2 TED Talks a day? Absolutely not. What's it going to do for me? What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on my couch, I'm going to eat Cheetos, and I'm going to watch whatever is on Netflix. Why am I going to do that? Because I'm just waiting it out. And so you see how our core belief about life in general guides our behavior on a daily basis. And so core beliefs are so important. Core beliefs about ourselves, about other people, and about life in general guide our behavior. So what do we need to do in order to behave differently, in order to feel differently? We need to get really familiar with those core beliefs. So write them down. I am. People are. Life is. And whenever you see a faulty one, you know what? You can choose what to believe in. I've chosen what to believe in, and it's absolutely changed my life. So the goal is to not get distracted by the shiny apples. Maximize your strengths, minimize your weaknesses, and live in line with your purpose with vigor.